All right. Wow.
But
Talk about a technical breakdown. 30 seconds before I was supposed to go on, the screen just goes blank. And I'm like, I just
yeah,
spent the last 5 minutes trying to almost having to switch over to my laptop here. But thanks for jumping
that's
on.
how it
Thanks for
goes.
waiting for me. Yeah, that's how it goes. We're about to talk about technology, and then the technology fails.
It's funny right now because I'm having glitches on like my phone and my laptop and TVs. I think there's something jacked up.
I think so too. I think so too. Well, we're streaming, and it says we have 12 people that are watching already, which is awesome. I have this going across YouTube, X, and Facebook. So for everybody that's watching, that's checking this out, what's up? I'm here with Mr. Mark DeGrasse, man, the myth, the legend. He is the founder of the AI Branding Academy, as you can see there by his profile name. And I'm Adrian Boycell. If you don't already know me, you probably do. But we're going to chat and make a big announcement today. And before I do that, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a chance to get to know Mark a little bit more. A lot of people have heard me post about it. I've made multiple posts the last few years about him and our relationship and just the impact he's had on me. But I want to give him a chance to introduce himself, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. I'm Mark. Nice to meet everybody. I've done marketing, branding, and business development for the last 20 years or so. My big claim to fame and the reason I'm in Austin is because I sold content business that I created, or actually built completely organically using content marketing. I sold it to a company called On It, which is kind of a fitness brand here in Austin, owned by Joe Rogan, or at one point owned. I think he got sold at this point. But basically, I built the academy and all the information around how they train people. After that, I built a agency. I developed about 300 brands for small businesses, and then I was the president of digitalmarketer.com for a few years. And then now I'm doing AI Branding Academy, as I see AI as being the bigger than the internet is kind of how I describe it. And I was around during the internet when it came to age. So yeah, it's a big deal. So that's what I'm teaching
Yeah,
people.
it's a really big deal. So you skipped over it because you have such a illustrious career. You've done so much. So that's kind of where you and I both meet. Is I consider us both skill stackers to the highest degree, especially as creatives. But tell me about your background at digital marketer and how that influenced what you're doing with AI Brand Academy.
Yeah, so one of the favorite things I liked about digitalmarketer.com was the frameworks, and I think frameworks are really, the only thing you could prepare right now for what's going to happen with AI, which AI is going to adopt a lot of the stuff that we do today. A lot of times when I describe to people like what we do as marketers, or even as just business, any kind of business administration, is like I call it switchboard operators. We're app switchboard operators, where we generate something with one app and then we carry it over to this app, and then we carry it over to this app. It's nothing to do with creativity, nothing to do with innovation. It's just
Mm-mm.
busy work that we have to do. Essentially, we're the robots, and so I call that work robot work. And AI's taking it over. So you see, ChatGPT just launched their AI agents. I've actually been reading a lot about Zapier's agents, and those are really taking off. But
Yeah.
essentially, what's happening is the only thing you can do right now is get your strategy down, and then all the execution stuff that has been the profession of marketing for the last at least 10 years is going to be unnecessary. And so what can you do as a brand? You can build value through content, through strategy, through community, and that's really where I think we're going to live moving forward in the marketing industry.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the community side of things, just the power of that, of building that Facebook group and then having the skill stacker group and just watching the people rally behind what it is that we're doing, especially when you have a big mission and then your content strategy is very consistent, right? One of the certifications I went through at Digital Marketer was your certification. And that's what,
Oh
like,
yeah,
you go
so
into
much
it
more.
thinking content strategy, and then you learn from somebody who actually knows content strategy, and you're like, wow, how little I actually knew. And just a humbling reminder that, like, we think we know it all as marketers. We're the do it yourselfers, figure it all out ourselves, watch all the YouTube videos, right? That's the gift and the curse of being a visionary and an entrepreneur and the time we live in with access to our fingertips so quickly. But until you actually get the knowledge that you've spent the last 15, 20 years, combining with all the different skills that you've learned, no one's going to be able to have that experience. You can acquire knowledge, but wisdom and experience, that's a whole nother level. And the way that you communicated that through your program, that's what was the most impactful thing, is you could see that history, you could see that foundational stuff below it, where a lot of people just create information just to try to sell it versus to actually make the impact. And I think that's why I'm excited for what we've been doing and what we've been working on is you helping me with the certification and all the things that we're combining our talents on with what's going to be coming here today. But I think that there's an opportunity for us to just remind people before we jump into this that, like, if you think you know it all, you've already lost the game, right? Remaining humble and coming from a beginner's standpoint and always being a student, that's what got us to where we are today. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that because we want to be these big experts, we want to be these big thought leaders. And sure, do we have expertise and are we masters in certain areas? Absolutely, but not in all areas. No person is. So I think there's an opportunity to come in with a position in our mindsets, the successful mindset is the people who want growth, people who are looking to level up, people who are like, man, maybe I don't know everything I think I know about content strategy. Just
Mm.
because I watch people on Facebook or I built an AI bot or I talked to ChatGPT about content strategy doesn't mean I have the frameworks like you talked about to actually help me become successful.
Yeah, well, and that's the neat part about having experience, because a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, it's a dead profession because AI could do all this work." But what you're seeing in areas like app development, where people are like, "Oh, I could develop an app with no code." It's like, yeah, you can. It's going to be a crappy app and it's going to be buggy as hell, and you're not even going to know why it's buggy as hell. And then who's going to fix this? Oh, it's going to be the developer who actually knows Python and knows all these different languages
That's
to
right.
actually make it work. So what you're actually seeing is instead of kind of like the low level people being like up level because of AI, and they are, you're seeing the professionals, like the experts, are actually
Yeah.
becoming like wizards of app development because they could do 10 times more work thanks to AI, and they understand what's happening with AI so they could correct the code and put everything together. And it's kind of the same way with marketing, where it's kind of like, in marketing, we've all been siloed into like, oh, I do social media marketing, or I do content marketing, or I do SEO marketing. It's all like siloed into these little groups, and then nobody's communicating. And so, what AI is allowing you to do is essentially manage all the methods of marketing in a cohesive strategy if you have the frameworks. And now you're super powered, and you don't have to, because
That's right.
I've dealt with a lot of marketing departments, and it's always these disagreements between like the social media team and the content team, and I'm like, what
Yeah.
the hell are you doing? Like, you share the content. Like,
That's
you're
right.
doing the same job. Why are you both doing content if you have a content team? So,
It's
now
true.
you can coordinate that. And that's what we try to teach at the academy, is basically like, hey, here's the core philosophy behind your brand. Here's 150 specs about your brand. And now we can execute anything you want. And you don't have to delegate the management to, say, Sally, the social media manager. Now, what you can do is say, hey, I have this AI, it has all my information. Here's Sally, ask it what you should share. And now Sally's on the same page as Bob, the content marketing manager, who's also referencing the same AI. And now everybody can be on brand without having to have some kind of psycho yelling at everybody.
Ooh, that's gold. I mean, and how many chat GPTs, how many custom GPTs have you built now to accomplish this?
Oh, I don't know, hundreds. It's so funny because it's so easy, but there is a right and a wrong way to do it. Because a lot of
Correct.
times, especially with the custom GPTs, you're like, you could use the chat function, and I'm like, the chat functions. I mean, it'll do the job, but you have no
Yeah.
control over it. It's not like a professional way to do anything, because who
Correct.
knows where the information is getting, who knows the logic behind the AI. And so what we teach is like, hey, before you do anything in the world, you have to define the thing that you're going to do. And so
That's right.
today, we were creating a pitch deck creator. And I'm like, okay, well, before you do anything else, what's a pitch deck? Because I could get a million definitions for pitch deck. So what's
Yeah.
your brand's definition for pitch deck? And so you have to make a definition. Then, hey, what's the type of outlines you could create for a pitch deck? Is it for investors? Is it for partners? Is it for customers? Is it for who's it for? And then
That's right.
those outlines will be separate. But if you let AI make the decision, which is essentially what a lot of people do, where it's like, just figure it out, AI. AI is going to do it, but it's going to do it based on this broad data set that, who knows where this information came from. And then tomorrow, when you do it, it'll do it again, and they'll
That's right.
redefine it again. So yeah, so it sounds boring, but if you don't do this kind of stuff, then the work that you're doing can be done by anybody, and there's just nothing special or proprietary about your offering. So you won't have business.
It's not a high value skill, and the way that skills are changing nowadays, are really important. You got to stack those high value skills. And what you're doing with the prompting and what you're doing with the AI Branding Academy, I think before we jump into the announcement, I want to give them a little more context to AI Branding Academy, because you've built the custom GPTs, you have incredible curriculum. What is AI Branding Academy, and what are like would you say the three biggest things about it that give it that unique
Actually,
edge? Yeah.
actually, why don't you give them your definition? I gotta go stop this alarm real quick. One
Yeah,
second.
we're good. Okay, so I'll share my definition of AI Branding Academy. Hello to everybody. We got like 90 people on here. Look at that. Suspects, Rod, Mark, good to see you, Manny. So my definition
Alexa,
is
stop.
what Mark has built is an enterprise level branding system that you use a combination of GPTs, custom prompts, as well as having educational videos and courses and tutorials on how to literally develop your brand pillars, your brand messaging, your look and feels. I mean, he's got logo revert, like you could take your existing logo and drop it in there and reverse engineer it. There's so many amazing tools within his AI Branding Academy. And you guys can check it out yourself, aibranding.academy. And we're going to share a link here in just a minute. So if you guys are patient, I'll drop that in the chat. But in fact, let me get that ready here now. But there's just a lot of resources that he's taken and built frameworks for everything branding related, for how people will experience your brand. I mean, the list goes on, and I'll do a screen share here in a second. Let me see. I can't post messages in some
All
channels.
right.
That's okay. So let me go ahead and switch views here. There we go. And then I want to add a screen. Unable to screen share. Screen sharing is not allowed. What the heck? That's going to be a
That's all
problem.
right. I'll describe it. But it's funny because the whole concept behind like, the branding, because a lot of like, even for me, I've been in marketing for a couple decades and I never really considered branding like super vital. But when I started doing research and I wrote a book about it, which I'll share with the community if you guys want it, it's called Always on Brand. But I was trying to go back to the history of all of time and say like, how did marketing come about and what's actually effective about marketing. And what I realized was that marketing is essentially the basis of every successful business, every successful government, and every successful religion throughout history. Because the whole concept behind it is that I could take a concept I thought of and I can make you believe it. And then you could take it and make this person believe it, and they could take it and make this person believe it. And essentially, that's what branding is the recognition of a concept and then the propagation of that into the future. So, and this is kind of counter to how we usually think about business. Because with business, you think, oh, it's the best product that makes it. It's the best service that makes it. And that's not true at all, because
No,
McDonald's makes crap hamburgers, Starbucks makes crappy coffee. These brands suck.
they do.
And the reason they're successful is because they got enough people to recognize it as being the best. And then there you go. And that's the effect of branding. And so it's both, it could be good or it could be evil, but it's a very powerful thing. And so when I was, making my system for how to apply AI to marketing, I was like, you just need branding. Just set your brand rules. And then you don't have to, all these people don't have to make decisions. And so when I went into companies, because I worked for carparts.com last year, $700 million company, I was like, all right, they're going to have it. They're going to have this nailed. It's just going to be like, I'm going to learn so much working for this company. I was a technical advisor to the CEO. And what I found was it was the same thing. Everybody was siloed. There was no cohesive strategy. And essentially everybody was living on an island making branding and marketing decisions themselves based on their departments. And this was unavoidable because in order to have like a really cohesive brand, if you look at Nike, if you look at a Tesla, if you look at these brands, Virgin, if you look at the big, companies, we say this is a good brand. All you have is just either billions of dollars to execute the brand strategy or some kind of psychopath at the top that won't let anybody do anything that's off brand. And so an Elon Musk or Richard Branson or these guys that are just not that they're psychos necessarily, but it helps,
You got to be a little crazy to be on that level.
Well, the thing is, it's like your average person would stop. They'd say like, you know what? I don't have the expertise. I'm going to hire this person. I'm going to delegate the branding to that person because I trust them. But this is a mistake because honestly, the only person that actually matters in any company is the owner. Like, I don't care
That's
what
right.
you say. At the end of the day, the last person that's going to be in that business is going to be the owner. The person who's going to benefit the most is going to be the owner. The person who's going to lose the most is going to be the owner. And so I don't care about anybody else's vision for my company. I need to have a vision that's big enough to contain the people that I'm managing, but I can't assign the vision. It just doesn't work. And that's why you see
Mhm.
companies who try to do this democratic approach to branding and marketing. I'm like, you're going to fail.
That's
You don't
right.
have one brand at that point. You have 500 brands, and
That's it.
it's
That's
just
it.
not going to work. And so
No,
AI allows you to say, hey, here's my vision, here's my core values, here's everything about my brand. And then I'm going to hand this AI to everybody and say, hey, when you make the HR manual for onboarding new employees, I need you to reference the brand AI. And the brand AI is going to tell you exactly how you should do this because my core values are in there. And now you're going to hire correctly, you're going to onboard correctly, you're going to fire correctly, like all the things. And
yeah.
this, so it's not just marketing, it's actually every component of a business. And now the other thing, the other side benefit is no more brainstorming meetings because the thing I hate the most is it's like you get a bunch of unqualified people from the company into a room and you say, hey, how should we handle this? And it's like,
That's so
what,
true.
what are all
That's
these
so true.
people? You don't know anything about marketing. You don't know anything about branding. Why are we even having this discussion? And it's because people think they know
Amen.
marketing and branding. And it's like, no, none of you do. That's
That's true.
fine. It's not your job. If you
That's right.
hired a lawyer, you wouldn't argue with the lawyer about the lawsuit that you're talking about. You might, but you're going to trust their knowledge. But in marketing, you don't do that. So instead of that, you just say, hey, let's ask AI based on our objective, based on our brand, based on our given resources. What are the top 5 decisions or top 5 options we could make for this situation? And then AI says, here's your 5 decisions. And then you take that to your team. And then now all of a sudden it went from idiot brainstorming with a bunch of sticky notes on a board to 5 options. Here you go. And it's done. And it took 30 minutes. So yeah, it's huge.
That is huge, and I'm so
That was a big
excited to be
rant.
part of it. And yeah, no, it's great, Rant. And I think a lot of people probably got so much value from that. I want to see if I can switch my screens up a little bit here to give it. That's not going to work either. Let's see here. There we go. Well, now the window's all weird size, so I guess I'll have to go back to the other one.
There we
There we
go.
go. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay, so I want to take a minute and just make the final announcement or the first announcement here of what's actually taking place. So you've been working on this for a while. I'm just now getting around to announcing it. It's a couple weeks out. But we have an AI-driven branding and marketing summit that's going to be happening on March 5th through the 7th. It's a virtual event. And anybody that's listening to this right now, there's 121 people listening to this. If you're on X right now, if you could do me a favor and share this, repost this so more people get exposure to this, that would be super helpful to our community, to our project. I'm also streaming on YouTube. So if you've been following me on YouTube, you know I've been at this for many, many years. Almost 5 years now, I've been on the YouTube thing, consistently putting out content, consistently delivering value. And so if you could share this with somebody, this would be really valuable. And then also on my Facebook timeline, I have this rolling as well. Thanks to Restream, I'm getting familiar with the infrastructure here, but we have an amazing event that Mark has put together that I am helping him and co-producing, but he's, to be honest, the one that's done the majority of the work here. And these are just some of the speakers that you're going to see here. And if you don't know some of these names, that's your first because some of these people that are on here, like Christine Marie, and if we could just go left, you can see here. I'm going to go back to the beginning. You got Jonathan Mast, one of the big AI pioneers right now, especially one of the biggest groups on Facebook around AI. Of course, you, Dustin Lean, Craig Andrews, that guy's a boss. Dr. Orsi Sabo, Rob Lee, Jay Vix. I mean, there's a lot of names. I'll let you continue on here because you probably know even more about them than I do, Mark. But give me a little bit of background why. I mean, look at these. Why you picked the people that you picked to speak at this event.
Yeah, so I was really looking for innovators, people who weren't just using AI for some tricks, because I think that AI or marketing in general has been dominated by like hacks and tricks and oh, let's game the system this way. And what I see happening with AI is all of that stuff. It's not yet, but pretty soon all of that stuff is going to be eliminated because if I have a software or I have a platform that people could share on, if I have a capable I could say like, hey, I want you to find the people trying to hack this system, and I want you to blacklist them. And I want you to find every
Yes.
instance of every brand they're happening. I want you to blacklist all of them. Because if it was my platform, that's what I would do. So why wouldn't everybody else
Mm,
do the same thing? So I think that all the tricks that we've been using to kind of get around things are going to fail. And then the other thing
That's
that's
right.
going to happen is the reliance we have currently on paid ads is also going to get so expensive that it's not sustainable. So essentially, the name of the
Mm,
game right now is like who could have the best ads possible to get the most acquisition. Pretty soon, it's going to be who could have the best retention. So who has the best lifetime
that's great.
customer value number, and that's going to be the companies that are profitable. So I was trying to find people who had that long term mindset, weren't about hacks, weren't about tricks, and were really about building the skill of marketing in whatever section. And so you have like Molly Mahoney, she does amazing work in terms of building community. Like, how do you get people surrounding your brand? How do you make your brand unique? How do you stand out in a crowd? She does an amazing job there. Jonathan Mast, he covers like every AI platform and
Dude,
really does it
seriously.
he does it in such a basic and straightforward way that even if you have no idea what you're doing, like just watching a few of his videos, you'll be like, oh, that's what I'm going to use this for. And
That's right.
so, each one of these people has a specialty within a section. And then, what they're doing is essentially taking the branding concept and expanding it into their area of expertise. So it's pretty powerful. And it's, again, not hacky, not tricky. I don't
That's
like any of
right.
that stuff.
Neither do I. I'm all about the fundamentals and taking people back to developing the plan, which I'll be talking about at the event. But we're going to get a special taste, as you can see here on this list, of some of the things, reasons why to attend. Is master the AI driven marketing strategies, right? Not tactics. These are strategies. Will you learn some tactics? Sure. Will you find some new tools that you didn't know existed before? Absolutely. But that's not the fundamentals and the foundation of what we're doing here and what this event is about. It's about those strategies that don't change. As AI changes, those fundamental strategies will not change. And so AI is going to change that. And then even bigger, and this is a world that I'm trying to drag other people into now, thanks to somebody that I'm going to announce here in a minute, but dragging Mark with me into the Web3 and crypto space where tokenization is a huge piece of creating tokens for communities. So we have the Skill Stacker community, which is in the background here, and I have it streaming to all the people that have invested into our Skill Stacker project. But that Skill Stacker token was taking an existing community I have, tokenizing it, and then basically paying those people in that token for performance, and then being able to make that token redeemable in various different ways, from merch to all kinds of stuff, which basically leads me to the whole point here of the big point I want to make, and that's anybody that is part of Skill Stacker now that has at least 1 million tokens, which isn't a lot right now based on where the market's at and the market capital is on the coin right now. But if you have 1 million coins, we're going to give you, and I'll put the coupon code here shortly. We're going to give you access. We're going to send you a verification form to make sure that you've got the amount of tokens that you need, because we have a wallet tracker thanks to the speaker I'm going to announce. And then if you're holding at least 1 million tokens, you're going to get a ticket to this event for free. And just to break that down, let me see if I can scroll down here. I don't know if we have it listed on this page or just hit claim your spot. Um, but you'll see here down at the bottom, we have different options. So if you just want to check it out, you want to test it out, see if it's worth the money, we have the daily access. You can get it there for $47 for one of the days. In fact, I think that's just the first day, right, Mark?
Yeah, and actually, I
Okay,
thought I updated that.
it's okay.
But you know what? We can expand it to any day you want. So if somebody wants to just come to that one day, what I'll do is I'll just
Yep.
add a little form for like which day do you want to come. That's cool.
Perfect. And then if you're going to go to the full event and you want the recordings, it's an extra $497. Full event plus the recordings plus a 1 year pro membership to his AI Branding Academy. That's freaking monumental. And then again, the top package, full event plus the recordings plus his membership plus a 3 month membership to Brand Butler. So you look at the total value of that. That's an $1,177 offer. That we're actually that's the price of that, right?
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I updated it. I simplified everything. It's just $47 for
Okay,
one
good.
day, and if you want the full thing, it's $497. Let me see. If you
Okay,
want to
perfect.
refresh, I think I'll do it.
Yeah, let me refresh. Let me do that real quick. There we go. It may be cached. I might have a cached
Yeah,
version of
my
that too.
cache. Yeah, hold on. Let me clear the cache. It's our
There
fun
you go.
you know, technical issues. But yeah, it's just 497 for the whole thing.
Okay, cool.
And really what I'm
So
trying
that's
to do
good.
it, well, it's kind of like the whole crypto space where it's like, man, it's gonna be so pivotal and a lot of people just aren't getting on board. I'm like,
That's
man,
right.
you're running out of time. Well, you're not running out of time. The neat thing about AI and actually our whole situation right now is that nobody is on the right page yet. Like it's up in the air. Like I think that the companies that we're going to be saying like 5 years from now, like I can't believe that just started a few years ago. They're just starting right now because the way I see like a job loss going is it's not going to be
Uh-huh.
like, oh, these big Google's firing a zillion people. Like that's going to happen, but it's not going to be because they're trying to replace people with AI. It's going to be because there's better companies are going to come out in the next 6 to 12 months that will beat the crap out of Google and have zero operating cost because they're going to know how to use AI properly. So what's going to
That's
happen
right.
is the big companies are going to fail and they're going to be replaced by much more efficient companies that don't need a ton of
Mm,
people. So that's why, like, even with a lot of people are like, no, they're not going to fire everybody. It's like, yeah, they might not have a choice.
that's
So
right.
we'll see what happens.
Wow.
But yeah, it's an interesting situation. But that's why I tell everybody, I'm like, man, this is the opportunity. This is the time that everybody's been waiting for. If you've been stuck in an industry, if you've been stuck in like a crappy profession that you hate, this is just get ready because
That's
you
right.
won't have to worry about it soon. And everybody again is going to be on the same page. It's going to be amazing.
So my encouragement for everybody that's watching this before I make one of the other speaker announcements, which you'll see here on the list as I scroll down in a minute, is go to aibranding.academy, and then you'll see the event page, whether you go to the URL that I just put in the chat or not. But go to that page, and then you can sign up from there. The third day that we were doing, so you got day 1 and 2. You can see here what Molly's doing, what Craig's doing, what Jonathan's doing, what Mark is doing. So each of the topics that they'll be covering, and then you get to day 3. And this is going to be a heavy Web3 and crypto session that'll take 3 to 4 hours. It's going to be a pretty good session between Gary and myself, and then whoever else we have as an industry panel that we're working on putting together right now. So this is going to be a third day that we expanded. It was originally only 2 days, and I talked Mark into doing a third day because I truly believe in what's happening here with crypto and with blockchain and being able to use and create a coin very quickly and tokenize your community. I think there's a massive opportunity here to reach more people in a very organic way without having to run ads. And it's kind of crazy to see what's emerging on the Web3 meme coins and that space. So definitely check that out. But we have Gary Henderson, who is the founder of Gary Coin, also the founder of Social Connector, also the founder and brains behind Stacker Agent, which is an AI crypto basically agent that will trade for you while you sleep and will do crypto trading. So the dude's just amazing. He's a huge part of why I'm in this space altogether. And the reason why I launched my coin, he's been a mentor and a friend and a guide. And so I hit him up and asked him if he wanted to be a part of this. And thankfully he's joining us. So we're gonna have a third day there. So if you buy the 497, you're gonna get the recordings, you're gonna get the event, you're gonna get the memberships, and you're gonna get access to the day 3. So all 3 days of the event. And if you're a holder already of a token, you have 1 million tokens as you can see here on the screen. You at least have 1 million tokens, and you're verified. So I have the Google verification form. Let me actually get this for you guys real quick and grab it out of my notes. And if for some reason my notes just disappeared. Well, I love how that happens. Um, so I have, let me pull it up from a different window here and see if I can drop it in. Let me go back. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's see. Come back. Yeah, I don't, oh, there we go. So let me come back here, and I think I have my notes on this page. Nope, they disappeared. Well, what you'll do is when you get to the registration page, what I just need to do, let me just grab it real quick because I have a quick little tab. I can paste this in here. There we go. Copy. It's a Google form. So if you're a holder of Skill Stacker right now, come back over here and then to the live call. There you are. And then we'll go in here into the chat. I'm going to drop this in here. Paste. You'll use that Google verification form. Did that show up for you, Mark, in the
Let
chat?
me take a look. Yes. Yeah, I see the forms.
Cool. Cool. So if you're currently holding coins, then I'm going to be emailing everybody that has at least 1 million coins in the next 24 hours, and then I'll be sending you a coupon code that you'll use to register for the event here. So if you don't have 1 million Stacker coins and you're not interested in buying any of those coins, no problem. If you're just part of my community, you're not into the crypto thing, that's totally okay too. You can get this event for 47 bucks, or if you want to go all in with us, it's 500 bucks basically, and you get everything. I just I couldn't come up with a better deal, a more screaming deal. Mark is super generous, and we're doing this as a way to just collaborate and see what comes from that, and just deliver as much value. And you got all these experts that have agreed to show up and donate and invest their time into you guys as well. So, anything else that you wanna share before we wrap it up?
No, I think if you are like, say you know nothing about AI, like it's still a very useful event. It'll just give you an understanding of how AI is going to be worked based on strategy, not based on like little applications. Because the fact of the matter is that all these AI are going to start to have the same capabilities, and so the only thing that actually matters is the processes you have to execute your strategies, and that's what we're trying to teach at the event, which I think is going to be useful for almost anybody. Also, you're going to learn
Yeah,
how to make cool stuff like videos and songs and pictures and impress your friends. It'll be a good time.
that's right. Well, that's right. And I mean, AI is going to eventually create a place where we don't even have to worry about working for paying our bills. We're just worried about doing the stuff that actually matters, the stuff that we're actually passionate about. And so I think that you have people that are rooted in not AI for how I can get rich off of AI, but how I can make my life better with AI. And I think that's going to be a
Well,
big, big.
the, the way I explain it now is I'm like AI is inevitable because the problem that we're having currently, and you can actually look up your own statistics, use Perplexity. That's what I use for research. But the cybersecurity issues are mounting, and now with this release of the
Mhm.
DeepSeek AI, like all the hackers have available too. So I think what's going to happen is AI is going to have to be adopted by almost every device to protect yourself from malicious AI. So whether you like it
Ooh,
or not, like we're probably going to be using it full time within not too long. So it's better to understand what's happening prior to that
that's awesome. And then you got look at this guy over here. Can I join? I'm like your adopted son, Adrian. Didn't even spell my name right. That's hilarious.
happening.
I showed the form there in the chat for everybody. You guys can see. I dropped it in the chat too, and then I'll make sure I go back into the live posts and drop it in there so you guys have it there as well. If you're currently holding the Skill Stacker coin, look at this. We got some giraffes even in here as well, representing Gary,
Saw that.
which is super cool. Let's see here. There we go. Mark, my screen is partially blocked. Great stuff. So yeah, it's going to be. People are just getting a little bit of a taste. And I wanted them to kind of get to know you a little bit better and all the work and time that you've put into this. And so if you guys are interested in coming it out, checking out the event, join us for the both days or all 3 days, and that's aibranding.academy, and you'll see the event page right there at the top. It's in the very top section there. And if you can't find it that way, you can just go /AID 2025, and that's another way to find it. So look at this guy. I have 2.8 million coins. Yeah, I think
Nice.
you're holding enough to come to the event, bro. So thank you guys for your support. Everybody on X, everybody on YouTube, and everybody on Facebook that's watching this. We got 178 people here watching live, so that's a pretty good audience for a pretty impromptu conversation and announcement. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with us today. I'm super excited to see you guys at the event again, March 5th, 6th, and 7th. We will be doing AI, crypto, branding, marketing, all the fundamentals that you need to really just get your head around AI if you haven't even started exploring it or you really want to level that up. And we got a lot of speakers, some really, really talented people. So if you guys need anything from me, you know where to find me. Hit up Mark. Definitely go give him a follow on all the platforms, X, YouTube. He's creating content on a regular basis. He's got a podcast. You should shout out your podcast.
Oh yeah, so I have a couple. The AI branding podcast. Check that out. We've been posting, a new podcast every week. If you have autism kids and you're a dad, I have a autistic 12-year-old son, and so I started a podcast called Dads in Autism Land, and it's actually been blowing up, and it's probably the most successful podcast launch I've ever had. Mainly because it's an underserved community. Like nobody really thinks about dad with the autistic kids because usually mom's the leader, but we
That's
have a
right.
lot of work too. So if you have autistic kids, check out Dads in Autism Land.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking your time away from your family to do this, Mark. Appreciate it. And thanks for having me be part of the event. And let me know if you guys need anything else.
Thank you, Adrian. You're doing great
All
work.
right. Thanks, brother. God bless you guys and keep